Hi everyone, I'm Alicia Winstead-Melvin. I am the President and Executive Director of Moms on a Mission of Wilson, NC Incorporated. Just want to give you a little bit of background about Moms on a Mission. We are an organization that started back in February 2022. And it started from just a tabletop conversation of moms that got together who were sharing like stories and like instances with their children who were dealing with substance use and drugs and addiction. And we all just kept hearing the stories about different families being affected by the use of wet and kids getting high off of embalming fluid. Kids dying from fentanyl poisoning. And some of these moms, we got together because we knew, some of us knew each other, some of us did not, but there was just a sincere desire and passion as mothers to not see our young men and women just waste away and die an early death due to this terrible, terrible epidemic that was taking over Wilson County, because we love Wilson County. It's Wide Awake Wilson. And I know a lot of people say, oh, Wilson this, there's nothing, Wilson that. But I love my community. And to see our young black kids being, their lives being cut short because of this terrible thing called wet and fentanyl poisoning, we just got together as moms do. And we just had a conversation about what can we do. And so it started one day from a tabletop conversation, and we gathered a couple of moms together, and we got with, the mayor, we got with a couple of dads that came out, and that night that we had that conversation was so powerful. And you realize that you think you're going through something alone, and you realize there's so many other people experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing, but we just weren't talking about it. We were pretty much suffering in silos. And I got involved because my mom did struggle with substance use, back in the mid 80s, early 90s during the crack epidemic. And, I am, closely related to a young adult trying to grow up and, experience life. But I had a mom who was struggling with addiction. So, I have a personal experience with the trauma and the sadness that brought to me. Thankfully, she did finally one day get clean, but, she was in her 50s. And so she lived a long time with that addiction. And so what we found through going through the different stories is that addiction and mental health is very closely related. And what we're finding with the organization is that a lot of people are going through certain things, stress, whatever it may be. And we know the pandemic brought about a lot of stresses, but what we find is that our young people are just experiencing different things and they don't know how to deal. And so they're turning to these other things to try to cope or escape what they're going through. But the thing is, they become trapped into an addiction. So we just want to, spread the word, spread awareness, because we know, drugs has been around forever. The DEA and different, law enforcement, they've been fighting the drug issue for years. But, what we see is how it is just taking over our community, our young people. And that's why, we are passionate. I don't know where this passion, this desire, this burden on my heart came from, but all of us moms got together and said, if we can just spread awareness, because prevention saves lives. Awareness is about prevention. If some of the moms, they lost their sons, they lost their children, they lost their daughters, and they are saying, hey, I couldn't save my son, I couldn't save my daughter, but if my story can help save another person's child, then I'm all for it. And I'm just so admired by their passion, even though they're going through pain and hurt and sorrow, but yet it's pushing them, to write a new story and to help save someone else's child. You know, I call them my superheroes, because when I see them be so passionate, knowing they got so much pain, but what's driving them is saving somebody else's child, and that encourages me. And so, you know, I've always been a problem solver, a person who likes to find solutions, a person who likes to organize. So I guess that's how I got into the role of being the president and the director of it, which is fine, but I couldn't do it without them. You know, they are the heartbeat of this organization. And so we are just trying to push this effort to provide prevention, to provide awareness. And our mission and goal is to help our young people to see that they can thrive in life. They don't just have to survive. We want them to thrive. We want them to tap into, you know, their abilities and their greatness. And we also want to use this prevention and awareness to help them stay away from drugs and substance uses, and, you know, find a different route to cope, you know, and to dispel the stigma of mental health, that if you need someone to talk to, it is okay. You know, in our culture, you know, it's always been keep it in the house, don't talk, don't tell, but yet people are struggling. So it's time out for that. It's time to disrupt that. And it's time to say, if you need help, reach out for help. And it's time for us to come together and comfort people, support one another. So that's what our group is about. We're about moms and dads and grandmothers that get together, and we see different ones going through what some of the moms have gone through, and we are there for them. And we, you know, Tina talked a lot about how she felt ashamed. And so Patricia talked about how she felt ashamed. And shame will keep you from talking. Shame will, you know, keep you from reaching out. But we want to let people know, moms, dads, grandmothers, that if you're going through this, if your child is going through this issue, we want to try to help you. We want to connect people to resources. That's our drive, is to connect the underserved, marginalized community to resources. Because when we were around that table that day, the thing that I kept hearing is, I reached out for help, but there was no help. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to contact. I didn't know where to, you know, where I needed to go to get my child help. Or I reached out and nobody would help me. So me, with my mindset of, you know, trying to find solutions, I'm saying, okay, this is a gap. There's a gap here. How can we fill this gap for our community, for the marginalized, underserved community? How can we connect that community to resources? And if the resources are not there, maybe we need to create the resources. You know, so a lot of things we're doing grassroots, but we want to try to be the standard. And so that's why our desire is, our long-term goal is to have our first detox, rehabilitation, and recovery in Wilson County. Now, we don't want it to be right in the town, but it has to be in a disclosed area. But we would love to be the standard. You know, we're intelligent people, we are capable people. So we're saying, why can't we start something here? And so that's what we're trying to do. And we're working with legislation, we're working with our Congress, we're working with our Senate. You know, we're doing things on the ground to try to, you know, bring solutions to this issue. We know drugs is going to always be around, but if we can help create awareness and prevention, that's about saving lives. So that maybe somebody might take a second thought when somebody offers them a cigarette that's been dipped in embalming fluid, or somebody offers them a pill, you don't know where it came from, and it's being laced with fentanyl, and it can kill you in a matter of minutes. So if we can just keep sharing that message and pushing the message, that we're hoping some young person will make a different decision and say, you know what, I heard about this. I heard this stuff can kill me. Or, you know, you see what others are going through and you make a different decision, because, you know, your future is bright and there's greatness in our young people. And we want them to tap into that greatness and realize that you can be great and you can do anything. You just have to make better choices and surround yourself in with like-minded people who want to do good things and who want to, have dreams and goals and aspirations. So we're Moms on a Mission, and our mission is to be that hub, is to be that connectivity for our community, and to help spread awareness and prevention about the dangers of substance use and addiction. Thank you.